It's Press Pass with Jack Ebling, Mid-Michigan's spirited sports debate. Now let's get talking sports. Here's Jack.
Great evening, Mid-Michigan and beyond, and welcome to a So Long Scoobs, Hello Fitz and Kyle edition of Press Pass on Fox 47. The Tarik Skubal era is over in Detroit, and what a run it was with back-to-back Cy Young Awards no one will ever forget, number 29. Meanwhile, the Tigers continued their mercurial ways, losing with a 7-0 lead over Baltimore, Tarik Skubal on the mound, falling 10-9, and then going to Sacramento and sweeping the Athletics. Baseball aside, it was a great week for Big Ten football fans. Pat Fitzgerald and Kyle Whittingham represented Michigan State and Michigan about as well as any coaches could. I don't always say that. And seeing 18 coaches and 54 players put their best foot forward, if you offered me a pair of Jordans, I might just take MSU linebacker Jordan Hall and Michigan running back Jordan Marshall. And of course, Curt Cignetti stole the show again. If you don't believe us, just Google it. Here to talk about all that and more is Team 670, or as some might say, the Beauty and the Beast. Haley Schoengart, former Lansing TV reporter and anchor, now covering college sports and more for WDRB in Louisville, Kentucky, while keeping one eye peeled on Greater Lansing and her number one love, college hockey. Did you have a good time in Chicago, Haley?
So much fun, Jack. We were able to take in a White Sox game with Paul Shaheen, my coworker, Eric Crawford. Sox walked it off. We did have to stay a little past our bedtime, but can't complain. What a start for us at Big Ten Media Days.
Absolutely. I want to thank Paul Shaheen for setting that up, and what a great night, great time we had at the Hilton. Also back with us tonight, Tom Crawford, Bluebelly Tom, my broadcast partner for more than 24 years and travel partner on the way to Chicago, everyone's favorite East Lansing Wolverine, cancer conqueror, and co-host of the new Jack and Tom Green and Blue preview and review. Tom, I know you had fun in Chicago and pretty smooth sailing.
Yeah, I nerded out, right, with all as a college football geek, getting all the content. I love it, and it's all. I always vision what it's gonna be like. It exceeds my expectations. A lot of conversations with players, coaches, and other media, and just other people, BTN folks. It was just great.
And we have some news for our viewers tonight. We now have our own YouTube channel. Just hit subscribe, and you'll get our content free. Everyone's favorite four-letter word, FREE, every week at youtube.com @PressPassWithJack. And if you can't stay up late enough, or you're not in the area and you can't get Fox 47, you can catch us that way. We'll be right back with Tarik Skubal next. Welcome back to Press Pass on Fox 47. It's time for our Law of the Jungle segment, brought to you by Graywall Law. With more than 100 years of combined legal experience, Graywall Law, PLLC, delivers expert guidance and trusted advocacy. Their skilled team is committed to justice, offering compassionate, results-driven representation. That's Graywall Law, a great choice for professionalism, dedication, and proven success.
It was always to win a World Series, for the city, for the organization. That took a chance on me. So, it's tough. I love all those guys in there. They're some of my best friends, and it'll be tough for sure.
Like you said, going to a team like the Dodgers, having a shot to be part of history, how much does that mean to you?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's exciting. I'm excited. They got a good group. You hear everything across the way. I'm excited, though.
I've seen Tarik Skubal excited, and that was not it. Tom, what do you make of Scott Harris' deal? Got 3 prospects from the Dodgers. Outfielder Zaire Hope, ranked 25th among all major league prospects. River Ryan, 27 years old, and both of the pitchers they got, Ryan and Brady Smith already had Tommy John surgery.
Yeah.
I guess I thought the Tigers could get more.
You did. Well, those are they're all top 100 picks, all three, correct? Or am I mistaken on that? Top 100. I'm not sure, but regardless, they had to trade. And the only thing that's kind of disconcerting, I think, to maybe all major league teams is why you handing the Dodgers their third consecutive World Series, because that's what's going to happen. And you know what ultimately is going to happen is that there'll be a shutdown now. I mean, there'll be a lockdown because it'll just irritate people. But for the Tigers, you got to get something for Skubal. I think Scott Harris did the right thing.
Yeah.
And who knows? I mean, we don't know how it's going to actually play out.
One thing they might have gotten with Tarik Skubal was a trip to the World Series, but now I'm not seeing that. You look at the American League now, and it seems like it's up for grabs. Tom, where would you rank Skubal looking at his career and those ERAs? That's 3 years, 4 years in a row now, counting this one below 3. Career ERA is 3.01. You look back to Denny McLain, Mickey Lolich, Jack Morris, Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer. He certainly belongs in there. I don't know how high, but pretty high.
Real high. I mean, and I don't recall. I mean, I'll start with Mickey Lolich, Denny McLain. That era, that's when I was just so immersed with the Tigers and baseball. I don't think the Tigers have had a dominant pitcher and so consistently dominant that you almost were assured he'd only give up maybe one run in his, max 90 to 100 pitches. But most impressive, jaw-dropping pitcher that I can recall in the Tiger organization. I say that in all sincerity.
Haley, Tarik Skubal meant more to the Tigers than just a starter who would go out there in a 5-man rotation. And it hurts to look at him here in a Dodger uniform. They're going to be coming into Comerica Park in late August. If he throws a no-hitter against the Tigers, can't imagine it. But what do you think he meant to this team off the mound?
Well, you have to acknowledge his accomplishments on the mound, right? You just saw the numbers and those don't lie. But I really do think Tarik embodied what Detroit and what Michigan is, right? He was drafted in the 8th round, got taken a chance on. A lot of people in Detroit and Michigan feel that they're overlooked. It's a blue-collar state. It's gritty. And I think Tarik Skubal really embodies all of those things. And we've seen it on the mound before. He'll get fiery. He'll get chippy. He'll get into it. And, Michiganders are passionate about a lot of stuff too. So I think Tarik really resonated with Michigan as a whole.
Tom, what about Casey Mize? Now, he might be the best pitching prospect out there, but he was a number 1 overall selection out of Auburn, all-star last year, and he's pitching even better this year.
Yeah, I mean, when Skubal left, he goes to the top of the heap as far as somebody who's going to mark, and we will, we're going to know an hour or, less than 24 hours from now. And when they pulled him aside, it looked like they were making sure they didn't get him hurt. So it looks like he might be served up. But if he goes, wow. That pitching staff is going to get really, mitigated, let's just say, significantly.
Maybe the Dodgers will take him too. They already owe $1.1 billion with a B in future contracts over the next couple of decades. Haley, Gleyber Torres might have had his best weekend as a Tiger. He was terrific last night in the field and at the plate. Today, I think he walked 4 times. If he's leaving too, he's going out with a bang.
Yeah, it's just so crazy to think all these pieces could be moving with the Tigers so close in the wild card chase. And that's just what is hard for me to conceptualize, is why Scott Harris is making some of these moves. And I understand he has to make some of them. Gleyber has shown flashes of being really, really good. He struggled at times. So it's just all wild to think so many moving pieces with the way that the Tigers have been able to dig themselves out of the hole they got in pretty early on this season.
Tom, as we look at the players who've moved to contending teams, I guess we're going to see more tomorrow, but you see a couple pitchers, Luis Castillo to the White Sox and Freddie Peralta to Tampa Bay. But it's going to be tough to catch the Dodgers, and I think you said it. This is looking more and more like a lockout And I don't know how much baseball we're going to see in 2027.
No, I think it assures a lockout. It's just, I mean, you just, push it's a, jaw that, I mean, the straw that broke the camel's back. People are going to be so irritated with this because I just don't see with that pitching staff and all the prospects say the Dodgers, they have so many top 100 prospects and I just don't see them being beaten in the World Series. I just don't. It's 3 in a row. It's happening.
Dodgers have a ton of top prospects, and the Tigers didn't get any of their top 4. Zaire Hope was ranked number 5 in the Dodgers organization.
That's how deep they are.
That's how deep they are. But in the American League, hey, somebody's got to win it. And Tampa Bay has the best record, but the Yankees and the American League Central is up for grabs. You can overcome 5 games in 2 weeks, Tom.
Yeah, I understand that, but I keep going back. There's so many teams you're competing with. And this Tiger team, I know we're going to talk about in that next segment, they're so inconsistent.
3rd best record in baseball since June 1st. We'll be back in just a minute looking at the Tigers week up next.
Welcome back to Press Pass on Fox 47. It's time for our Belting the Long Ball segment, brought to you by Forest Acres Golf Courses and Golf MSU. Play Acres West, the number 3 rated college course in the country, and enjoy some of the best grass tee practice areas in the Midwest. Call 517-355-1635 to make reservations today.
26-year-old righty sees that. Fly to left field. Soderstrom back at the wall. It is gone to the patio for a 1-0 lead. No doubt about it. Opposite field home run to lead off the game for Kevin McGonigal. That's how you start a party. She's got her earpiece in for the whole show. High fly ball, hit well, right center field, track, ball, gone! Gleyber Torres, an advantage count, and he hammers away 4-2. With Max Clark right here. Uh-oh, Max, fly ball, right field to the wall, there's number 1! Max Clark goes yard, somebody get that baseball!
Three Tigers home runs, and that ball will fly in 100-degree temperatures in Sacramento. Tom, it was a terrible end to Tarik Skubal's Tiger career on Wednesday. Had a big lead. You think that everything is going Detroit's way at home, 7-0, and then A.J. Hinch starts bringing in the gas can bullpen. Next thing you know, they're in extra innings, and Detroit loses a game it's going to want to have back 10-9.
Yeah, so Thursday morning here at Big Ten Media Days, and all the Detroit media is talking about the Tigers blowing that game against the O's. I mean, but you know what? I'm excited what we saw. Max Clark, he's young. Yeah. Kevin McGonigal might even get some MVP votes this year. I mean, this ties into what was really good about, getting rid of Skubal is let's just start building towards the future, because if they get to the deep in the playoffs, that's not happening this year anyway. So, I mean, when I saw that home run by that young guy, Max Clark, I think that's terrific moving forward.
Tom, a change of scenery worked as well as Hinch could have hoped. Going out to Sacramento, facing the Athletics, and they put the wiffle ball bats down.
Yeah.
13-1 on Friday night.
Yeah, that remind me of a wiffle ball game where the bat was so light and the ball would go a million miles. They're terrible, the Athletics. And this is why I thought when I was on Press Pass last week, they'd only drop one all week. But, they had to win that. Now, moving forward, who knows? But the inconsistency of this team is what drives this fan base crazy when the opportunity of being such a lousy division in a lousy league presents itself.
Like Forrest Gump and a box of chocolates, right? You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Haley, last night's game was surreal and the broadcasters, fans, people shouting into the dugout. I think Jason Benetti talked more about the trade deadline than he did about the game he was broadcasting. But 8-6, and they needed every one of those home runs you saw at the beginning.
Yeah, a win is a win. And that game really had everything you can want and more, minus the popcorn that I would eat at the game, right? You had home runs, you had Tarik Skubal being traded, you had benches clearing at the end. But if you're the Tigers, you have to figure out how to scratch some wins out. And that's exactly what they did against the Athletics. They needed that one. And like we have just continued to say, you have to kind of wash your mouth with the Skubal drama and turn your attention towards the end of the season and then really towards the future.
Tom, another scorching afternoon, and the Tigers were just as hot today.
Yeah.
Cater Montero on the mound, 11-0. I guess if you can beat teams by double digits, the bullpen doesn't matter.
I mean, look at the hits. I mean, 12 hits, 15 hits. I mean, they're knocking the cover off a ball. Wish they could play the Athletics all the time, but we'll see if that can continue because they don't have Skubal anymore, so that their pitching staff is not as, doesn't have the prowess it did before.
Yeah, especially if Mize leaves sometime.
Well, yeah, they're really going to be inhibited.
Tom, was another 4-2 week for Detroit. Maybe not the way people envisioned with 2 losses at home to the Orioles. But if you can keep winning 2/3 of your games, you got a chance to be right there.
Yeah, but it goes beyond. I mean, I think they're just not win a series. I think they got to play 700 ball for a while, just go for a couple weeks, especially against the teams that they should beat. And obviously, they should have swept the Orioles. They should have gone flawless all week in reality.
Yeah, I'm not so concerned about 700 ball because the teams ahead of them keep losing, and they're going to be playing each other some too. Haley, who wins the Central Division? Oof. And does another team make the postseason? Look at the Tigers' run differential. They've scored 63 more runs than they have allowed. Compare that to the Guardians.
Yeah, isn't that crazy how this all kind of shakes out? Obviously, you have to turn your attention to the number 1 position. The Chicago White Sox have made just an incredible turnaround. Yes. Cleveland right up there. I could see the Twins taking it. But if the Tigers can get their act together and start stringing together some wins, 700 baseball or better, we've seen the Tigers pull some magic out of a hat before. They very well could do it again. They lose Tarik Skubal with the pitching. I feel like anytime Tarik pitched, it was almost like a guarantee win. He was just that good. So they'll need to figure out the rotation and all of that good stuff, but you never know.
Yeah, another big week ahead, and they got to keep playing, winning 2 out of 3. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Press Pass here on Fox 47. It's time for our Going Green segment, brought to you by Graf Chevrolet and Graf Nissan on West Grand River in Okemos. With 108 years in the automobile business, they'll take great care of you, as they have on all 8 of my leases and purchases. For new or used vehicles or great service, go green, go Graf.
Head football coaches, Jim, walk up here and have an expectation to win the Big Ten championship. And if you don't have that expectation, I don't know why you do it. I have no idea why you do it. And that's our expectation. And when I was a student athlete, I heard this guy once say, we're going to take the purple to Pasadena, and people laughed at him. And we're going to take the green back to being Big Ten champions. And we're going to do it with everybody. And we need everybody. Like Tom Izzo, he's been a great mentor, a great friend, his staff, the Spartan Nation. We had Spartan DogCon last week, and to see all the guys come back, we stand upon their shoulders. We're going to draw upon their wisdom, their success. We're going to have them educate not only this team, but our teams moving forward. And we're going to get back to playing tough, hard-nosed Spartan football that's going to make our fan base and Spartan Nation proud. Expectations are to win the Big Ten championship, full stop.
Pat Fitzgerald, and he has never lost a media availability. Tom, you've been impressed by Fitz before, and we're again this week. I think we both were impressed by Michigan State's new coaches. And there you see Jordan Hall at the bottom with Nikai Martinez and Alessio Milivojevic. Obviously, you have to have speed, you have to have power, you have to have play in the trenches. But how important is leadership?
Oh, it's huge, and that starts with Fitz. I mean, he's an emotional guy. He's all over the practice field. We've heard it from players who've been at practice, and he's so driven. In the media scrum, he goes, "Yeah, when he was trying to get Joe Rossi and he was trying to land him and get him the recruiting trail. Yeah, I said I was getting 2 hours of sleep. I'm just pouring coffee down my throat, and it was colder than hell outside. It was awesome. I mean, it just shows you what Pat Fitzgerald is all about. He is a football coach, and he's a good one.
Haley, I wish you were here to cover him. It's going to be a ton of fun. There's one current Big Ten head football coach who's a member of the College Football Hall of Fame, and it happens to be Pat Fitzgerald. Not for his coaching, although he is the winningest coach in Northwestern history, but as a two-time Defensive Player of the Year. And there's one current Big Ten basketball coach who is a member of the Hall of Fame. And, they work about 100 yards apart, Haley.
Yeah, and Tom Izzo loves himself some football. Listen, if you're a Spartan fan, you have to like that correlation. Izzo, obviously one of the greatest basketball coaches of all time. And I never got the opportunity to cover Mark D'Antonio in his tenure at Michigan State. But what I've seen and what I've heard from you guys, from social media, about Coach Fitz, he seems to align a lot more, not only with Coach D'Antonio, but also the Tom Izzos, the Adam Nightingales. Like, I think Coach Fitz really fits into Michigan State in their identity, in their culture. And I don't think I could have said that for some coaches in the past. So I really hope Coach Fitz, continues to do the same things that those other people I've mentioned have done, because he seems to have the right pieces right now. He's just got to put it all together on the football field.
Tom, I'm not sure any program has had a bigger roller coaster ride than Michigan State. And you look at that era from 2010 through 2015 with the 5 seasons with 11 or more wins. And then after that, pretty sketchy until the last 4 years. No bowl appearances, no wins in big games. Michigan State's shown it can do it. It has done it, but it's a different landscape than it was with D'Antonio.
Absolutely, and it's ended on tail spinning. You look at the back end, all those 4 losing seasons in a row, and they had that that 2017 season was good, but after 2015, after Wowie has troubled the snap and then getting blown out by Alabama. Yeah, not a pretty slate there for Michigan State, but I think they're going to turn that around.
Tom, we've talked about MSU's offensive line woes, it seems like every year. And when you look at last season, started off 3-0, and then went to USC and very competitive for 3 quarters. And after that, it was lights out. They needed a win over Maryland to avoid a 9-game losing streak. How much was the offensive line responsible? I guess Aiden Childs and some mistakes had something to do with it too.
Yeah, and it got to the point where Aiden wasn't trusting his offensive line and doing impulsive things that weren't so good. But I tell you what, that UCLA game, that home loss, I think that was homecoming. Yeah. That sent them south, and that because they hadn't played they played pretty good out at the Coliseum,
right?
And against a very talented team. So, but then all of a sudden it went bad. But that's all in the past. I mean, I'd put that slate away and look at this schedule upcoming. And like I said, you're going to find out in week 3 how they can compete against Notre Dame. And then, I think they need to beat Northwestern. But I got this team with 6 wins. I really do. More than most Michigan State media do. But I just think they're going to come up with 6 wins this year.
Haley, what do you see when you look at the 2026 schedule? A couple of MAC teams, but they're going to be facing 3 of their former starting quarterbacks. Noah Kim in week 2. You have Caton Hauser at Illinois in week 6, and followed by Aiden Childs. I don't think I've ever seen a team face 3 of its former starting quarterbacks in one season.
Yeah, welcome to the new era of college football where you can transfer a bunch of times, right? Yeah. At Media Days, Coach Fitzgerald said something that really caught my eye. We have a bag of chips on our shoulder. Not a chip. They've got multiple. And I think they have to, right? We were talking before the show. A lot of people have Michigan State picked to win 3 games this season. On that schedule, I see there are a lot more than 3 available for them to win, but can they string it all together? And I think especially those 3 games against their former quarterbacks and then obviously Coach Coach Fitz facing his former school too. They're going to come in with some toughness, and I could very well see Michigan State going to a bowl this upcoming season as well.
Yeah. And he's used to being an underdog. It's happened to him throughout his career. We'll be right back. We'll take a look at the rest of Big Ten Media Days.
Welcome back to Press Pass here on Fox 47. It's time for The Big Picture, brought to you by Dean Transportation. Dean is hiring caring and dependable people as school bus drivers in many Michigan markets. Be a hero in your community and safely transport children to and from school with Dean. For more information and to apply, visit deantransportation.com/jobs. That's deantransportation.com/jobs.
The Big Ten is the best league in football. And a lot of really good football teams. It's hard to win on the road. Very physical football teams, very well coached. It definitely prepares you for the playoffs. There's no doubt about it. The numbers speak for themselves. I mean, we don't run a hype machine up here in the Midwest. We believe everything's earned, not given. And when we fall short, we say we fell short. We don't cry a river, whine, and complain. All right? And that's why we're the best.
Coach Cignetti, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Shot fired at the Southeastern Conference, courtesy of Curt Cignetti. Haley, you know him very well after covering Indiana's run through the Big Ten championship game and the Rose Bowl, and then 16-0 finish after the college football playoff. How would you describe Cignetti in 50 words or less?
Oh, I'll give you one. Unique. I've never met someone quite like him. And I will say he always brings his receipts. With that comment he had, then he proceeded to list off the rankings of the opponents that IU knocked off in their 6 top 10 wins. And you can't really argue with the numbers there. You have to give him his flowers, because the Big Ten has also had the last 3 national champions. Cignetti reminds me a lot of Izzo in the way that some of his sayings and what he will deliver in his speeches will seem kind of mundane, but he'll throw a dagger in there every once in a while and he'll twist it too.
Beat 6 teams ranked in the top 9. You don't find that very often. Tom, we've been watching Big Ten football games in stadiums, you and I have, for a combined 129 years. And there you see all of the uniform mannequins all wearing the same number for 2026. And we've seen some great 26s. You were telling me your memories of one who played running back on back-to-back national champs.
Clinton Jones, Michigan State. It's the number. I mean, 26. I'm a Michigan guy. It's the Spartan I think of. That's or Herb Adderley. Another former Spartan when he was
Blake Ezor.
Yeah. Haley's like, who are these old men talking about? Yeah, but Clinton Jones was a marvelous player. That's what I think of for 26.
Haley, looking at a ranking of last year's performance for this year's starting quarterbacks in the Big Ten, Alessio Milivojevic, number 2 in stressful situations, how he performed under pressure. Look at Dante Moore, Heisman Trophy favorite. He is way down the list. And then you go to the bottom, and who do you see at the bottom there at number 18?
Yeah, I really was impressed with Alessio when I first saw him, when I was even covering him at Michigan State. He had just arrived on campus, young guy. But even I felt like when he first stepped foot in that facility, you could tell he was there to compete. And you could tell that, there was something special brewing. He just needed to develop a little bit, get in the weight room. Alessio hasn't always had the best opportunities at Michigan State. It's been kind of a mess. I'm excited to see him this upcoming season with that experience under his belt and with the new regime. I think he has a lot more weapons. And like we've talked about before, Michigan State's offensive line has just been really bad at times. And so I'm hopeful they got the reinforcements they needed, because clearly you mix Aiden and his issues, no offensive line, it kind of that speaks for itself. And I think Michigan State fans can agree that's where Aiden kind of lies on that chart.
Hey, Haley, you were there every step of the way. Indiana turned a 12-0 regular season into the first 16-0 season modern era. You'd have to go back more than a century when they played a ridiculous number of games. But looking at this, was this a miracle, or was this just good football with great coaching?
Ooh, I have to say good football with great coaching. I mean, I love some defense, and I was so impressed with Indiana defensive coordinator Bryant Haynes. He is a true mastermind. Cignetti calls him the mad scientist, and I really think he is. The way he's able to disguise defenses. I've talked to Will Stein, who now coaches the University of Kentucky, was Oregon's offensive coordinator at the time. And Stein has rewatched that D'Angelo Ponce pick six so many times because they just didn't see it defensively, what Indiana was in. And then all of a sudden, boom, they morphed. And just the way that Cignetti has gotten people to buy in. Don't forget, Indiana was a basketball school. People thought that program was so in the cellar, it couldn't be brought out. And he just went 16-0 and won the national title at IU. So I have to say, really good coaching. I've been very impressed with the way that he's been able to turn it around.
Tom, looking at the Hoosiers this season, I don't remember a defending national champ, unbeaten, being picked to finish third in its conference. But that's where Indiana is, and I look at a 5-0 start for sure before they go to Nebraska. And I don't see them losing more than one or two games, just that.
Well, it's, the reason you just saw, I mean, you got Ohio State and Oregon in there, who just, dripping with talent.
Yeah.
And, it's that back-to-back game. They host, they had that big emotional game in Bloomington. They're hosting the Bucks coming to town. And then the following week, they got to go to the big house in Ann Arbor. But, if they might split those, they could lose both of them.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, no wonder they're third then. When you look at that, the schedule is murderous in the Big Ten.
Well, they don't play Oregon, so they could lose them both and still be in the college football playoff. But if they split them, then they got a great chance. Haley, what about the Wolverines and what you see here? A lot of people have said 9 wins. Some have said 10. Some have said 8. Kyle Whittingham said the goal was to play meaningful games in November. I don't think a lot of the alums like that. Which games do you see Michigan dropping?
Okay, I see them dropping at Ohio State, and I see them dropping at Oregon. I also see them dropping versus Indiana.
Okay, so you have them beating Oklahoma. Tom, I think you've got that flipped. You have them.
I got it flipped because I think their offense will be ready for Indiana with that offensive line. But I don't think that offense will be ready for Oklahoma. That's game 2 against
early on.
Front 7. Oklahoma's defense is better than Indiana's.
Tom, Michigan will emerge from the gloom of Sharon Moore and Ward Manuel. History tells us that, but there you see a flag, and it's not at half-mast. It just looks that way on a very gloomy, cloudy day. What's it going to take for that to disappear?
Oh, I think it's going to start the season. Once this football season starts, and the the attack media, people trying to bring down Michigan, that they'll get more preoccupied with what's happening between the lines.
All right, we'll be right back, and we're going to look at the NCAA. Some big changes up next.
Welcome back to Press Pass on Fox 47. It's time for our one and only segment, brought to you by One North Kitchen and Bar on West Saginaw. Voted Lansing's best new restaurant and best sports bar, One North is the one place I take guests for amazing scratch cooking, craft cocktails, and more than 40 TVs to watch every game on every channel. That's One North Kitchen and Bar, where friends and family gather to make good times great.
There you see Jackson Kohler, Mr. Energy, guy who never loafed at Moneyball, and 3 places where he might be playing. The 5th year of eligibility, thought his career was over at Michigan State, and was going to be a member of the Utah Jazz. He got injured, doesn't know if he's going to get a 2-way. Phone's been ringing off the hook. He's had more than 20 offers, including some of the biggest programs in the country. Haley, how strange would it be to see Jackson Kohler wearing Kentucky or Kansas blue?
Oh, don't say Kentucky blue, Jack. And unfortunately, Kentucky does have a roster spot open right now. And that's the exact kind of player that UK basketball needs. This whole NCAA thing is so confusing because there was a clarification that came out today. Yeah. Now people are saying, unless you enter the portal, you can't transfer. You can go back to your school. So I think teams are inquiring about Jackson. I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
But all of this stuff still has so much to develop. I don't know if Jackson even wanted to go to either of those schools. He would be allowed to. I think he'd have to go back to Michigan State, but does Michigan State have room on their roster? Not really. So this whole thing is just such a mess and then school starts, not to mention, like, what, in a month?
Yeah, exactly. And you have players who are already there and have been competing for positions. It's just a mess. Tom, the ruling this week from District Judge of Colorado, Charlotte Sweeney, just seemed to make things more confusing. And the NCAA immediately said it's going to appeal this ruling of the age-based eligibility, the 5-in-5 rule, that did not originally allow last year's graduating seniors to return. But what do you make of this now? And if you were a player or you were a coach, how would you handle all this uncertainty?
Well, selfishly, I mean, if Roddy Gale Jr. can come back to try to win a back-to-back national title in a 5-in-5, I mean, that's limited out for Michigan. But that aside, this is all stuff. It's just going to end up in courts. It's like a ping pong match.
Yeah.
And this is going to go on and on and on. It's almost like politics right now. And it is a mess right now. And we're sitting here in August and people are trying to play their rosters. And I can't fathom what's going to happen moving forward. And as Kyle Whittingham told us, it's just going to be drastically changed in the next 2 to 5 years. You won't even recognize college intercollegiate athletics, football.
Tom, I had never seen Kyle Whittingham in person, never spoken to him, but I was so impressed. And I don't mean just in talking about his tackles. I'm talking about the future of college athletics. You got Ryan Day up there saying, just let it go, just let it play out. Well, of course he would say that. He has every resource known to man in Columbus. But Kyle Whittingham, I think, was taking a big picture look at this, and he said there needs to be separation between 48 to 60 schools and the rest that really aren't playing the same game. But he talked about it being an NFL minor league. Which is what it basically is. We call it PSOC, Pro Sports on Campus. And he talked about a salary cap, and he talked about collective bargaining and unionization. I don't know how you survive without it.
Yeah, I asked him about the Lane Kiffin thing. I mean, should an incoming freshman have a cap? He hasn't even set foot on the practice field. He's asking certain money. Yeah, I mean, I think Kyle gets it. And but in the scrum with Ryan Day that I was at, and I asked him that question.
Yeah,
higher the better. Why? Because he's got the resources. They want to be the New York Yankees or the LA Dodgers. That's what Ohio State wants to be, and they probably can be.
Well, there are haves and have-it-alls, and Ohio State has everything you could ask for. But I think there are more schools who don't have that, who do have problems, who have issues they have to deal with, and it's going to be very tough for them to sponsor the sports they have. They're going to have a lot of cuts there. They're going to be losing a lot of players right and left, and fans are going to hate it. We'll be right back to our weekly awards next.
Welcome back to Press Pass here on Fox 47. It's time for our Lansing's Best segment, brought to you by the Lansing Sports Commission. Bring thousands of athletes and teams to mid-Michigan for hundreds of tournaments and special events. Hats off to the LSC for showing just what this area can be. Plan on something greater.
I like that call with the front right hole location. Here's Thor Bjornsson at 12. Oh, and he's got it. Birdies at 2 of his last 3 holes, and the 24-year-old moves to within 1. Yes! What a putt! And that might do it for Thor Bjornsson. What a way to finish.
Stanford Cardinal Michael Thor Bjornsson. He had a closing round 63, and that gave him the win in the 8th and final Rocket Classic at Detroit Golf Club. Tournament may be resurrected at some point with a different sponsor, but this is it for Rocket Mortgage. All right, Team 670. Time for our weekly awards. Haley Schoengart, let's start with you and our play of the week. What do you have?
Now, that was an incredible putt. I will tip my hat to that, but I have to give it to Max Clark. And I can't just pick one, but going 3 for 4 in your major league debut, it's highly anticipated. All eyes are watching you.
Yeah.
You couldn't have asked for a better start. Then he goes and smashes his first big league home run. I mean, what a week for that guy. He's living the dream, and I hope that he can help the Tigers kind of turn things around and maybe clinch a wild card spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Fans are going to love him too. And so are the young ladies. Tom Crawford, what about our team of the week?
Team of the week's easy. So Los Angeles Dodgers, they just secured a World Series championship. That'll be 3 in a row, and they can savor that one next year because there won't be baseball next year. So that'll linger to roll over to, they can savor for 4 years. So I thought it worked out good for them, and they just, with Skubal, that they'll have the pitching staff that no one will be able to stop.
4 years of world championships, Tom. They will have that honor through 2 full congressional terms.
Yes, exactly.
Great job, team. I will finish up with our players of the week. And NFL training camp opened Tuesday for the Lions. You see Devin White, and he was the 3rd leading tackler in the NFL last year for the LA Raiders, and just picked up by the Lions. He's going to look really good next to Jack Campbell. You mentioned Max Clark, Haley, and he's done it in his debut. For the series, there's no player 21 or under who has debuted with a better series than Max Clark did and seemed to love every second of it. And Tarik Skubal. And Tarik has got a great chance to get a world championship out of this. I think he's going to be remembered fondly in the state of Michigan. There you see him at Breslin Center when he came and was actually throwing things up in the crowd. I said, don't tear your arm up doing that. That's the way he was, and he will be beloved here in the state of Michigan. For Haley Schoengart of Louisville and Tom Crawford, Bluebelly Tom, Jack Ebling saying, have a great week, everyone.